About 3 years before my dad passed, we took a trip to Washington, D.C. as a family. We took the train down from Connecticut, and the first evening that we were there, we did a 3-hour bus tour of 10 different monuments around the city. So we came up, and it was an open air van bus, a big black vehicle with about 25 seats. And we, of course, with my mother being in charge of organizing the trip, were first in line. So we got up and my son picked the seats all the way in the back of the bus, which ended up being quite convenient. As everybody else boarded, there was a bus driver and then a young woman with a microphone that was, we assumed, going to be our tour guide. Once everyone was on and we started moving, the bus driver introduced our tour guide in training. And that began a very interesting evening. Now, I'm sure that she was a very nice young lady and she would eventually turn into a wonderful tour guide, but she was not there yet. It was a bit of a challenge in the beginning. She was doing the best that she could, but her jokes were kind of cringy and her facts were sometimes not quite so factual. Now, my dad, sitting next to me as a history buff, especially in the area of early American history, was struggling. Now, in our family, we do have a solid history of watching Mystery Science Theater 3000. So we were taking it as best that we could. Very glad that we were sitting in the back because I often had to stifle laughter as my father incredulously got more agitated by her lack of presentation skills and also incorrect information. So we suffered through the first half of the tour this way until one of the members of the tour sacrificed herself for the greater good of the rest of us. And that's actually a terrible thing to say because what actually happened is we were walking back from the Jefferson Memorial to the van, all 25 of us together. And one of the elderly women on the tour missed the curb in the dark and ended up falling and probably definitely broke her wrist, which was really awful. I feel horrible for this woman. The bus driver called an ambulance for her and had the tour guide in training wait with the woman and her husband for the ambulance to come and with the opportunity to come back through and pick up the tour guide later. As we all sat back in our seats and his voice came over the microphone, it was like angels singing from on high. We had gone from someone who was probably on one of their first few tours, could probably count on one hand how many times they had done this route and given this presentation. We'd gone from that to a master. He was competent, he was confident, and he was hilarious. The rest of the tour was amazing, especially with the juxtaposition of the two skill sets put so close together. And of course, my mother, being my mother, at the Vietnam Memorial, chatted with him a bit, and he also agreed that he had been white knuckling his way through her attempt at a tour presentation. So the rest of the evening went well, but it really demonstrated how the leader, the teacher, the trainer, the presenter can make or break the experience. So I'm curious, how many of you have been in a teaching or training session with someone like that first guide where it was awkward and you just couldn't wait to get out of there? Freddie has multiple hands up. And then how many of you have been in a session with the second tour guide where you just relaxed into the ride because they were so skilled, you forgot about all the meta of the presentation and you just enjoyed the experience? Karis is yes. So we would all love more experiences like that second presenter. Now, these two tour guides were presenting. They weren't really teaching and training, but There is a massive difference that I have noticed in my extensive experience helping with club officer training and participating in club officer training. Communication and leadership are building blocks of being an amazing trainer or teacher. But teaching and training is another level, figuring out how to organize the content and make it so that it's not a fire hose of information takes a lot of skill and practice. What most teachers and trainers do is they tend to get stuck in the curriculum and the content. So in the end, you just get fire hosed by information for 15, 30, 60 minutes. And in the end, you're just overwhelmed and you probably lost focus partway through the presentation. Those kind of presentations often result in frustration from both the teacher and the students. Having worked with kids for a lot of years and watched a lot of budding martial arts instructors come up through, you end up with a classroom of kids chasing imaginary butterflies around the room. When we're in a setting like this on Zoom, adults have butterflies that they're chasing too. They just end up being digital. So they're checking email or they're looking at their phone or they're getting distracted by other people in the room. And the end result is a blah experience. BLAH. Boring, lame, awkward, and haphazard, where the journey through the information is kind of confusing. So as a teacher and a trainer, our goal is to create a free experience, which is fun, rewarding, engaging, and energizing. And over the years of teaching and training, my partner and I have created a system, a teaching system, the momentum learning system, to help teachers learn how to organize content in a way where they share the information, but it's packaged in a way that the learner can absorb it. It creates a learner centric experience. So, my goal for this high performance leadership project is before the end of the Toastmasters year to run a 4-week training institute session fusing what I've learned through all of my years of studying, learning, and teaching to create a free experience with Toastmasters. And I look forward to being able to come back and present to you all on the other side, probably in June or July.